we're doing, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to your Friday. Is it TGIF or is it, WGAF? Maybe we'll start calling Fridays WGAF. Who gives a fuck? Kind of seems like it to me. Doesn't seem to matter too much. Kind of like what Les Claypool will say. Funny thing about the weekends when you're unemployed, they don't mean quite so much. Except for you get to hang out with your working friends. Anyway, welcome to the show. Here we are for, episode, 18. Maybe I probably didn't even change it right on the thing. You know, the thing. We all know about the thing, right? You guys know about the thing? Yeah, the thing. We love the thing. So we got a lot. I'm just going off the cuff here today because there's just so much nonsense going on out there. It's just it's damn near laughable. And I don't like bringing it up, but I just feel like people need to be informed about what's going on. And I know a lot of people just want to just bury their head in the sand and just go on and act like everything's cool and no big deal. But I mean, we're in some perilous times right now. I mean, and these are some very important years ahead that we have coming. That it's going to define, where we're, as humanity, where we're going. What are we doing? Because what we're doing right now, it's obviously not working. This is not working. And anybody out there that is going to tell me that it is working, then you need to have your head examined because this is not working. The approval rating is at an all-time low. Gas prices are at an all-time high. Inflation is as high as it's been in 40 years. And the way that they calculated inflation 40 years ago, as opposed to the way they calculate it now, was different. So this is probably twice as bad as it was. All of you who've been to the store, you know what I'm talking about. Everybody knows what I'm talking about. Everybody's taking a hit, except for the elite. You've got a subsect of this country that they don't take a hit on any of this. And I'm talking about your politicians, government in general. Your Hollywood elite. They're all up there acting like it matters. Like Joe Biden acts like it matters, but he left office at 11 a.m. this morning and went back to Delaware. He showed up the Monday of this week. He showed up for work at 12:30 on Monday. He doesn't care. Kamala Harris couldn't care less. You can tell that when she starts cackling about things that are serious. 24% of the Hispanic population in this country right now approves of Joe Biden. 24%. Now, the Hispanic vote has been a cornerstone of what the Democrats think that they have coming to them, I mean, it's why they're doing what they're doing at the border, because they think that that's more votes for them. But as it turns out, the Hispanic population in this country is not very pleased. And I don't blame anybody for being displeased right now. I think we should all just be in utter disgust. Now, you all know I like to go out on hypotheticals. And I like to propose things that are never going to happen, but would be funny if they did. And that's why, Twitter just blocked one of my tweets that I put out. And all I was saying was, you know what? Here's the deal. If you, me, all of us just, going about our daily lives, if we have to eat these costs at the grocery store, if we have to eat these costs at the gas pump, if we have to just, knuckle up, weather the storm, then why don't these other people? They don't give a shit, and it's painfully obvious. When we have a homelessness crisis in this country that $20 billion would eradicate, it would solve. But instead, these fuckers are allocating $40 billion to send to the most corrupt country in Europe so we can fight a war by proxy. And that's what it is. It's a NATO war by proxy against Russia. Plain and simple. Now, you can cut me off. You can do whatever you want. Who knows? They probably will. In which case, you can catch my show on a number of different platforms. I've got video now that's coming up on Spotify for the time being. Rumble. You can catch me on there. if you want. I don't know. I still feel like I only have about 3.2 viewers, but for those of you out there that are listening, shout out to y'all. Y'all know who you are, and there's some of you I need to get in touch with, and you know who you are on that one too. Anyways, my proposal here, my hypothetical is that, okay, and I've put this out there. Let's ground, Uncle Creepy. Okay, no more. Okay, he's talking about flying over to Saudi Arabia. Okay, and then he comes out and says, well, this doesn't have to do with energy. It's other issues. Bullshit. We know what he's going to go over there and he's going to grovel and beg for more oil, and they're not going to give it to us. Why would they? Why would they? They're sitting there laughing. They hate us. They hate us. And here's the thing, folks. You think that this guy, and Hillary Clinton was guilty of the same thing. Look at all the money that Hillary Clinton got for her campaign from, Saudi Arabia, all right? She won't talk about women's, equality, gender equality and this and that. I mean, you're talking about a country that has oppressed women for its entire existence. They execute homosexuals, anybody in the LGBTQ plus portion of, their population, which those people have to stay hidden. And if they get outed, I just saw the other day a young man got sentenced to 5 years in prison and 500 lashes. Do you know what that is? They whip people in Saudi Arabia. They whip people in Saudi Arabia. That is part of their judicial system. They whip people in Saudi Arabia for being homosexual. Sodomy is a crime punishable by death. Okay, so now Biden gets up there and he grandstands over all this stuff that's going on with this division. Now, quite frankly, here's the way I see it. And here's the way most of the people that I talk to see it when it comes to these issues. When it comes to talking about a person's, sexual identity, gender identity, most of us, if not the majority of us, don't care. And by saying don't care, I don't mean that's just like you're looking at people with indifference, but we don't care about what goes on in a person's private life is their business. And most of us feel that way. I would say 99% of the people that I talk to think that. I mean, who out there thinks that they have a right to tell a person how they should live in their bedroom or, I mean, who cares? But somewhere along the line, it became everybody's business. And then they use this to label people. Well, you're a transphobe, you're a homophobe, you're a racist, you're this, you're that, you're a misogynist. I don't know anybody that falls under those titles. And I live in the middle of nowhere in Wyoming. I mean, I could go out, and maybe I'll do so. Maybe I'll go out today and just go do random interviews with people around town and just ask them off the cuff what they think about these things. I'd be willing to bet that most people that I would speak with, and, let me tell you what, in Cody, Wyoming right now, we have people from all over the planet here because, a lot of people have left because of the flooding in Yellowstone, I would say. I mean, that's the big attraction here. So being 52 miles from Yellowstone Park and having the park get shut down. Now, I heard that they might have opened the gate up. But anyway, we do have a large cross-section of people from all over the planet in this small town in the middle of Wyoming right now. So, I mean, if I was to go out and start talking to people today, you would get a cross-section of everyone in this little town. And I'd be willing to bet, I'd put money on it, that most people's concerns have to do with the prices that they're paying at the grocery store. They have to do with the prices that they're paying at the fuel pump. If they're from the city, I'll bet they have to do with concerns about safety, crime, probably thinking about moving. We have a reverse migration thing happening right now. Do you know that, folks? People from the United States are actually thinking that it looks better, more promising down in Mexico, and they're going to Mexico. People are moving to Mexico to get out of this country. Doesn't seem like a bad idea to me, but I'm going to stay put, I mean, we're going to have to, you got to put your foot down at some point. And I think that if ever there was a point for that to happen, then we're at it right now. We're 246 years into the existence, almost 246 years into the existence of this place. well, since 1776. Obviously, it's gone on before that. A lot of it not stuff to be proud of. However, here's the thing: you can sit there and you can beat yourself up for the past. Okay, now I'm sick and tired of seeing white people beat themselves up over the past. Okay, and I'm sick and tired of seeing white people get beat up over the past, because there's none of us that were here at that point in time. I don't know anybody that's owned a slave. I don't know anybody that looks at somebody else as somebody other than just another person. I don't. I mean, I don't hang out with those people. I don't know. I mean, everybody, when it comes down to it, people are people. And you get treated in life the way you treat others. And there are certainly people that are pieces of shit from all walks of life. All walks of life. But just to label people, I'm under the firing gun. I'm under the gun because I'm a straight white male, a straight white middle-aged male. And the only people I dislike are the tyrants and the ruling class that seem to think that they're up here while the rest of us are down here. Well, the idea of government was to be there for the people, to help the people. They are not helping us. When was the last time that you feel like, other than getting your stimulus check, which didn't help, your stimulus checks led to this. Your stimulus checks led to a flooding of the economy with dollars that were backed by nothing. It's just fake money. What's that going to do? It's real easy to figure out. And there's nothing that's going to fix it now. They're going to be raising interest rates again. Watch this. I mean, this is how they manipulate it. They raise interest rates on you. So they put the screws to you through inflation, and then to fix it, they raise the interest. Now, interest is the most phony thing on the planet. Excuse me. I must have sawdust in my beak. Interest is ridiculous. I mean, and we've been over this. We've been over the way the fractional reserve banking system works. We've been over it and over it and over it and over it. Yet we still subject ourselves to it. Now, we are like the children of alcoholic parents in this country. We literally are. We literally are, because we just keep forgiving, and we just, they're doing their best. They're trying. No, they aren't. These people are not trying. These people that are incumbents in Congress and in the Senate and in government, these elected officials that just stay there, or the revolving door. That's another issue. Where they go in, go out to the private sector, like your Lloyd Austins. I don't know if anybody's paid attention to who he is or anything. I mean, you look at these individuals that go in and out of government and then into the private sector, like Wall Street. Yeah, not private sector. It's all part of a big club. And like George Carlin said, you ain't in it. None of us are in it. I mean, we're on hit. We're the ones catching it. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's ridiculous right now. So here's my proposition. All right, here's what I'd be if I were a senator or a representative or whatever. This is what I'd be putting out: is a bill to say, guess what? All these elected officials, no more petrol-based products. Period. That means no more driving. You can't even ride your bicycle because your tires are made out of rubber. You can't use your iPhone, your Android, your laptop, your tablet. That petrol takes care of, guess what? No more lipstick, no more hair products, no more hygiene products, toothpaste, clothing, petroleum. No more flying around in a huge jumbo jet by a derelict geriatric mushhead. Why are we footing the bill when we've got, who's paying for that jet fuel to put in that stupid fucking Air Force One for him to go fly around? We are. You, me, all of us. We're paying for this idiot to go embarrass us on a global stage every time he goes anywhere. And apparently 81 million of you allegedly voted for him. How you doing now? Jake Paul came out and he put out a tweet basically saying, because he was a big backer of Uncle Creepy. He came out and admitted he made a mistake. And he said, any of y'all out there who don't think you made a mistake, you need to check your head. I mean, at least that's being a man. Saying, hey, I made a mistake. This guy, he will not take responsibility for a thing. Have you ever seen anything like this in your life? I've never seen a grown man who will not accept responsibility when called out on something that when you completely screw something up as a man, you take responsibility for it. You know how many times I've had to do that in my life? I still have to. I screw things up all the time, but you know what? When it dawns on me that, oh, geez, I was way off. I was wrong. Holy shit. You do what you can to fix it. This dude isn't going to fix a thing. He's not going to fix a thing. And I'm going to play a clip for you right now. And this is coming straight from, this is the guy that they hate at the White House press conferences, is Peter Doocy, because, he's always asking the questions that are difficult. So here we have, we've got Karine Jean-Pierre, who is Peppermint Patty's replacement. And the whole way that transition took place, I've got problems with. I don't think that you bring a new person on to fill a position that's being vacated. Jen Psaki going to MSDNC, and she brings her out, and instead of introducing her as, this is the new press secretary, many of you know her, Karine Jean-Pierre, she'll be taking over for me from this point forward, and she's going to do a great job, and just have her take the podium. No, instead, she grandstands, and she explains to everybody how this is the first member of the LGBTQ plus community, and she's also a black female. So she puts that, everybody can tell that she's a black woman. Who cares? Nobody cares about, it's like, is she fit for the job? Is she going to do a good job? That's all anybody cares about. And nobody cares about her sexual orientation. But yet they have to put that out there, and they're supposed to be the party of tolerance and, racial justice, and how is that not racist and sexist and homophobic, quite frankly, to go out and that's how you introduce somebody to their job, is by it's identity politics. It's not saying this is the person that is best suited for the job. We've been through a whole litany of potential, people that are going to fill this position, and she's the best that we could find. She's the best one out there, and she's going to do a great job. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome, Karine Jean-Pierre. That's how you would do that if you really didn't, if you really weren't those things that you're claiming everybody else is. See, a lot of times when you call somebody something else, chances are that that's what you are. And so to me, when you have to grandstand on these things instead of just treating people as people, to me, that's none of my business. Whatever goes on in her personal life is none of my business. It's none of my concern. How she handles herself in front of the press, and how she answers the tough questions, and how she, does her job. That's you're talking about somebody who's being paid on the taxpayer's dime. So that's what's important to me. Is somebody effective at doing their job? Are they worth the money to be doing what they're doing? I don't care about what they do in the bedroom. I don't care about anything. I don't care about what they identify as. This whole identity, no. I identify as a 46-year-old billionaire. I identify as being worth about $60 billion. I identify as having, a Gulfstream jet. I have a couple of helicopters. That's how I identify. I live on my own island. That's where this is being filmed from. That's how I identify. This is not, I don't identify as being from or living in Cody, Wyoming. I identify as being from an undiscovered planet in a different solar system. And because I identify that way, that's who I am. Okay, so I expect you all to call me Your Majesty or Your Honor. And I want gold, frankincense, and myrrh. I don't know what frankincense and myrrh are. Just bring me gold. I mean, that's about as ridiculous as all this bullshit. I mean, just because you identify as something, don't make it fucking so. Identify as, I mean, how about take a look in the fucking mirror? There's your identity. Take a look inside yourself. There's your identity. Figure out who you are. There's your identity. And you don't have to sit there and grandstand it to anybody, because if you know who you are, you don't have to tell anybody. I know who I am. I mean, it's not that, it is difficult. You got to do a lot of soul searching, and it goes on and on and on and on throughout your entire life. It never stops. But this whole nonsense of I identify as this. Okay, so from now on, I'm worth $60 billion. I have helicopters. What else do I want to identify as? I mean, I identify as the president. How about that? I mean, does that make it so? You have to call me Mr. President? That's how I identify myself. From now on, whenever I go someplace and somebody doesn't call me Mr. President, then they're going to get 500 lashes with a wet noodle. Come on. This is stupid. Do we all understand how stupid this all is? You don't have to identify. I mean, why do you have to identify as anything other than a human being? And why do you have to judge somebody else on anything other than being a human being? Is a person decent? Are they kind? Are they kind to animals? I mean, and then you've got this violence. Where's this come from? Where's this coming from? And I mean, what did I tell you the other day? I mean, the first school shooting goes way back. So this is not a recent phenomenon. It's definitely a problem. It certainly is a problem. And we're talking about all these red flag laws and this and that and the other thing. Well, those have been in place. I'm not able to get a firearm. These people that are felons that have firearms, they've gotten them illegally. And that's just going to continue to happen. The red flag stuff, this is the type of stuff that was in the Florida bill. I mean, it was saying that parents need information about what's going on with their children mentally, like what's happening with them in school, rather than having some counselor or something talk to your child and then not even tell you as a parent what's going on with your kid. Not telling you that your child is having issues with their gender identity or their sexual orientation. That's something parents need to know about. Because if a child's going home and the parents don't know anything about it and they're struggling, then how are you supposed to solve it? I mean, or whatever, And sometimes you just have kids that are psychopaths, I think that Ramos down there in Texas, I think that kid he's a psychopath. And yeah, there should have been a red flag thrown up when he goes into the same gun shop within 3 days and buys 2 AR-15s. That should have, certainly. Especially when you're talking about a kid that was arrested at 14 years old for saying that he was going to do what he did. So he said he was going to do this. They arrested him and another kid for saying that they were going to do this. And then he did it. Now, I mean, to me, that should show up on a background check. Now, maybe it doesn't, but I understand that you have to seal records of minors. But there could still be something that should come up on that. It doesn't necessarily have to tell the person working at the gun shop or the owner of the guns. It doesn't have to tell them exactly what it was about. But I mean, I don't feel like that's too far-fetched to say that if a kid's arrested at 14 years old, saying that when he graduates from high school that they're gonna go shoot up a grade school, I don't think it's too far-fetched to say, sorry, dude, you're not getting any firearm. I mean, I don't see why that. I mean, there's a need for that to be something in place, I would say. Do I think that's gun control? No, I don't think that's gun control. I think that is just. I mean, there's already gun control. There's already gun control, folks. Like I said, I can't go get a firearm. I was never violent towards anybody. I was wrongfully accused and convicted of a crime that I didn't commit. The only thing I was guilty of was trying to get these people and myself out of a situation that I flubbed and walked into. Now, I took responsibility for it. I did my time. I paid my debt back to society. I've been free and clear and just fine for, with no issues whatsoever since I came home 9 years ago. Business owner, it's like, but I'm labeled as that forever. The only way that I can get free and clear of this is a presidential pardon. And I'm filling out the paperwork, but I'm never going to get that because my last name isn't Biden. I can't go and fill out the paperwork and lie about it. There's a double standard. You see what I'm saying? There's hypocrisy in all of this shit. I mean, Joe Biden should not be allowed to talk about anything to do with gun control until somebody takes care of what happened with his kid. His kid needs to be indicted. Okay, that is a crime, a federal crime, punishable by 10 years in prison, in federal prison. That's a maximum, and a $250,000 fine. Now, he's not going to get that if they indict him. He'll get probation. They'll put him in a halfway house or something, or put him on house arrest. Hey, there go the chainsaws again. They're still out there cutting away. Just about got that tree down. Huge tree. Absolutely huge. I should put some pictures up of it, man. It's pretty impressive what these guys do. And to think I was looking at taking that thing down myself was like, yeah, no. I was a little bit of a delusional moron. Anyway, here's an example of the excuses that the administration likes to make. Listen to that. Yeah. That's the sound of gasoline. All right, so let's pull this up here. And we got our monitor up. Maybe. There it is. Okay, so here's Peter Ducey asking Karine Jean-Pierre some questions that she doesn't like very much.
We need them to actually refine the crude oil, which is not happening, and that's what we're calling on oil companies to do.
Why not just drill more here in the U.S., though?
Because we don't need to do that.
Okay, why not drill more in the U.S.? Because we don't need to do that. Now it's the refinery's fault. Just another example. No responsibility whatsoever. None. No responsibility. I mean, it's absolutely silly. Excuse me. And Biden's blaming it on, he ran on the whole precept of he had a plan for the virus. I remember listening to him pointing at Trump during the debates. He doesn't have a plan. I mean, I don't know. It seems like, he's taking credit for the vaccinations, right? He said they've come out and said there was no vaccine before Joe Biden took office. Well, Joe Biden is seen on video getting a vaccination before he even takes office. So that's a lie. He has a plan for the pandemic. Another lie. Didn't have a plan. Didn't have a clue. No plan whatsoever. No clue. No nothing. Just willy-nilly. Let's go eat ice cream cones. And, he finally got his dream job as the president at, damn near 80 years old. Why anybody would want that job, I don't have any idea, but people do apparently. I mean, you've got to be a narcissist to even want to even run for that office. To have the audacity to think that especially this guy though, he's just something else. I mean, this guy is dumb. He's dumb. I mean, he's lied about, he lied about his everything with his, where he finished in his class in school. I saw him lying in front of the military the other day saying that he was appointed to the Naval Academy in 1965. No, he wasn't. Negative, red leader, didn't happen. He said that he got arrested with Nelson Mandela. No, he didn't. He said he got arrested during the Civil Rights March with Dr. King. No, he didn't. Lies, lies, lies. In one of his first runnings at this position, he basically quoted verbatim a British politician and then had to come out and eat that, but he barely ate. He still skirted around the issue. He didn't just come out and say, yeah, I'm a fucking cheater and a plagiarist. I mean, there's nothing worse than a plagiarist. You know what I mean? It's terrible. I mean, and that's what he's done. I mean, everything that he's talked about, he's lied about. The only thing that he's ever been behind is imprisoning black men. That's the biggest thing that he did in his entire 50 years in this stupid world of politics is, he was an architect of the 1994 crime bill, which imprisoned thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of black men, nonviolent black men for, victimless drug crimes. I mean, like Biggie said, you either got a wicked jump shot or you're slinging crack rock. And when you grow up in a community where those are your choices and what's it going to be, I mean, not everybody makes the NBA. I mean, even standout athletes, like I said, I mean, to make it to that level, I mean, number one, you've got to have the physical ability. But the other thing that you have to have is you've got to have the mentality. You've got to be mentally tough. And the other thing that you have to have is you got to, go through a career in professional athletics without having injuries. I mean, a football player, that's why I think that college football players should be paid, because those guys are out there and they say, well, they get an education. Well, what happens when they get injured? You're one snap in college football. Look at Willis McGahee. I mean, it's amazing that guy ever made it to the NFL after that. With that leg snap, that was brutal. I mean, you're one snap away from a career-ending injury, in playing football. Any sport. Baseball especially, too. I mean, baseball, football, any sport that you're playing, other than maybe, even golf. Tiger Woods has had all kinds of injuries, I mean, when you put that wear and tear on your body day in and day out, and I if you don't think golf is really, golf is, trust me, if you decided, if you, like, I haven't played golf in a couple of years. I played every day. There for a while, I was pretty much living on the golf course. Every day I'd wake up over to the golf. I'm playing all day. And if I were to go out and play 18 holes today, I guarantee tomorrow I would be so sore. In any kind of sport. Tennis. Look at the wear and tear that those people take on their ankles, their knees, joints, hips, shoulder, elbows. That's a difficult sport. You got to be in some good shape to play tennis, soccer, every sport. So to grow up in a community where that's that's your way out. It's either that or you're going to get sucked into gang life, selling drugs, get chased around by the police, lucky to not end up in prison or dead by 21. You could say that, to me, that's not opportunity. To me, that's something that should be addressed. And I think that's something that, could be addressed. We're talking about education system. We're talking about, housing and jobs. And the main thing it comes down to is education. But the crazy thing is where these type of things are prevalent is it's all in Democrat-run cities. That's where the worst gang activity, the worst violence is in Democrat-run cities, like Chicago, like Baltimore, like Detroit, Los Angeles. Look at San Francisco right now. Oh my God. And they say it's getting better out there, but I don't know. These are all things that $40 billion could have been better spent to take care of, rather than having the first half of it go straight to, the Department of Defense. So Raytheon, Lockheed Martin, Grumman, they can all, or they need to be made whole for everything that they've given to Ukraine. And they've said that we don't need to be on the ground over there, but we need to keep backing them. Well, you cannot rebuild an army once it's gone. They're saying that Ukraine's losing like 200 soldiers a day. Everything that's come out of there has been propaganda and a lie. I would say it's more like 800. You can't keep that up. We're sending weapons over there that these Ukrainians, they don't know how to use. We're sending them weapons that takes a member of the United States military anywhere from 6 to 8 weeks of training to learn. These guys are over there with cell phones and Google Translate figuring these things out. That's scary, right? You don't know who's getting blasted with these things. I mean, it's like there was that theater that got hit, and the missile casing had a Ukrainian serial number on it. Russia didn't have those weapons. I mean, anything could have happened. I'm just saying. You see that and it gives you pause to say, okay, who really was behind this? It's not the only time that's happened. You know, and here we're just going to keep shoveling these weapons over there. Well, you know what's happening to them. It's the most corrupt country in Europe. You've got the Azov Battalion, which are neo-Nazis. You can't tell me that this stuff isn't, it's just like, I mean, who knows how much of the stuff that we left in Afghanistan has ended up on the battlefield out there. We don't know where any of that shit went. I mean, who knows what kind of deals the Taliban has made with, I mean, it's just crazy. I mean, that was probably, nobody even talks about that whole fiasco. That's just out of sight, out of mind now, right? Nobody even cares about that debacle. You go back to day one with this administration, and it's just been an absolute joke. And it was a joke before. It's always been a joke. The whole thing, the whole setup is just silly. And we've allowed it to happen, and we sit here and we still let it happen. We let these people run us and do this to us. Why? We are the majority. The people are. They've got us so divided amongst ourselves that we don't even know which way is up because we want to argue over, what we identify as. I think of everybody out there as my brothers and my sisters. That's it. That's the way I look at it. And if you're a brother and you want to be a sister, then okay, you're a sister. If you're a sister, you want to be a brother, then okay, you're a brother. That makes you fine. I don't care. If that makes you happy, then I'm happy for you. But to sit there and, put it all on the table for something as silly that no one really does care about. The people that care about it are the media and the politicians. They use these things as talking points to distract you from what they're doing behind the scenes. It's always been like this. It's always been like this. They never want to let a good crisis pass them by. And look at what the Democrats are doing right now. They know that when this midterm election comes about, that they are going to just get swallowed up and by. So they're using this January 6th thing. I watched interviews that people were doing on the street yesterday, going around asking people what they thought about the 1-6 committee. People were like, what? Do you think anybody out there really gives a shit about that? I watched them get up there. One of them got up there and testified saying that cops died. No cops died. One police officer had a stroke after the fact. Nobody died at that, during the insurrection. Those people, they didn't bring firearms in there. If you're going to go and overtake a government, you're going to, you don't just go wander around willy-nilly with Buffalo Man leading the charge. I mean, nobody's that stupid. I don't even think these people knew what they were doing. Were they idiots? Yes. You were an idiot if you went in there on that day. Certainly. And I would say that to anybody who went in there, you're an idiot. Okay? There's a right way and a wrong way to go about things, and that was certainly the wrong way. But they knew it was coming, too. Pelosi knew it was coming. She's the one in charge of security. The Capitol Police, they weren't ready for it. They knew it was coming, but they weren't prepared. They weren't ready for it, And I mean, she's real quick to put up the security fence around everything, But, you don't want to build a wall. Now, I'm not saying the wall's the way to go either. I think if we had a legitimate path to citizenship here that didn't force people to take the measures that they take, I mean, that's what we need more than anything. We definitely do need immigration reform. But it's kind of crazy now that you're looking at American citizens who are now going the other way. They're going into Mexico. And they're effectively taking, people in Mexico out of their homes because they're coming in with, more resources. They're going in and buying people out there, and so what do you have there? Then you've got, somebody in Mexico that now they don't have a home. Where are they going to go? Come here. I mean, it's a problem. And we don't know who's coming over the border either, because it's just a wide open gateway for anybody from anywhere. I would definitely not want to be a border agent. That's for sure. I mean, but this is what's going to happen, and I mean, it's you've got that grass is always greener on the other side of the fence until too many cows get over on that other side of the fence. Well, guess what? The grass starts growing back on the other side. You know what I mean? It's all, it's all relative. I love the slamming doors out here and the chainsaws and everything. It's just lovely. So anyway, I just thought that was interesting that you have a 24% approval rating from the Hispanic community in this country. And there was just a Republican voted in, and I'd have to look this one up, but this was in Texas, in a county that had not had anything other than a Democrat in, I'd have to look it up to find the actual year, because I'm not going to quote it right now because I don't have the exact information. But I can find it here. I've already watched the story on it. But it's kind of crazy. It's pretty wild to think that the Hispanic community is giving Biden a 24% approval rating. That's not good for him. It's not good, I mean, I think the Democrats have grandstanded on this idea that that they've had the vote of the black community, the Hispanic community, any minority group. But from what I've seen on the numbers, is what you had was a record number of disgruntled Karens, if you will, that decided to not vote Republican again and go vote Democrat. And they were, people were buffaloed by Onion Head. I don't know how. I mean, it's beyond me how somebody would fall for that, I don't know. I mean, obviously a lot of people did, because they wanted Trump out so badly. And I mean, like I said, whatever. But I can tell you this, we wouldn't have this shit going on in Ukraine. We wouldn't have the fuel prices where they're at. We would be in a lot better shape. We really would. And I'm all for, alternate energy sources, that's fine. But let's develop them. Let's have a way to transition into, renewable resources. The fact of the matter is it's not a renewable resource anyway. These electric cars, they're not. What does it take? It takes lithium. We gave up all the lithium that we were supposedly, guarding in Afghanistan. Who's got the world's supply of lithium right now? Okay? Do your homework. Look into it. I mean, how much petroleum does it take to make a car battery? Dipshit just went and, upped the ante on the ethanol to 20%. Okay, let's think about this. Let's think about this, folks. Okay? Where's ethanol come from? It's corn. It's corn alcohol. Okay? Now, what's it take to get corn? It takes a lot of diesel fuel for one, right? It takes a lot of fertilizer. Where's fertilizer come from? Petroleum. Okay? It is worse on the environment to use ethanol in our fuel than it is to just go straight gasoline. It's bad on your engine. If you drive something that's older that has a carburetor, which I know a lot of people don't have that or even know what I'm talking about anymore. A lot of people don't even know the difference between a carburetor and fuel injection. I have a diesel truck and I have a 1985 F-150. Two entirely different beasts. Okay, I don't put ethanol in that 1985. Number one, it's got a 1981 motor in it, so they changed the motors up. Okay, that one's still mechanical for the most part. It's got a mechanical fuel pump on it rather than one in the tank. I know that nobody probably knows what that is unless you guys are mechanically inclined, and I know a lot of you guys out there are. But I know a lot of people don't have a clue about this stuff. They don't even know how to check their tire pressure, much less change a tire. They know how to pull up to the gas pump and, put fuel in it. They rely on Jiffy Lube or whatever to, check all their different fluids in the vehicle. They wouldn't even know how to check their power steering fluid, brake fluid, add windshield wiper fluid. They would believe that they needed blinker fluid if you told them that. Damn sure don't know how to check coolant. Nothing like that. People just don't know. They've become so alienated from the things that actually make our lives work. We've become alienated from our food sources. We've become alienated from, what money really is. Sure, we've got currency, but I mean, I don't know when the last time was I saw anybody actually write a check. I mean, I did when I, had a payroll to do and stuff like that. But I don't go through any checks anymore. You'll still see it in Cody, Wyoming, though. You'll get behind somebody at the store and they, an older lady whips out that checkbook. I'm like, whoa, blast from the past. But even then, that's not real money. It's not tangible cash. 3% of our currency in our economy, in the United States economy, 3% is actually in cash. The rest of it's just a digital number. It's a made up number. And they can manipulate it however they want. They add more, take it away. Everybody says printing money. They're not printing money. They're not printing money. Do me a favor. If you got a wallet and you got some money in there, check out the dates and the serial numbers on those bills. I've done this before. You'll be interested to find that you're not going to find a $100 bill in your wallet that's got a 2022 date or 2021. If you do, put it in the comments. Shoot me a picture of it. I'd like to see, because I always check. And I mean, most of the money I look at, it's like 2013, I think, is the newest. So where's it all going? Where's all this printed money going? It's not being printed, folks. You keep saying they got the printing presses. I keep hearing these. I hear these talking heads say this. Oh, they got the printing presses going at the Fed. No, they don't. No, they don't. Come on. Any of that currency that it is out there, they're probably using. Look at all the currency that was out there in what they call the green zone in Iraq when that whole thing kicked off. They said that the United States dollar, everybody had a briefcase full of cash in their trunk. Be they U.S. or Iraqi. I wasn't there. I don't know the validity of that, the truth to it. I don't know. But it's pretty crazy. And that's what runs our life, That's what rules everything that we do. It's pretty wild. And we just sit here and we just watch this stuff go on. Janet Yellen, how does Janet Yellen still have a job? She's just as bad as Fauci. Fauci's a criminal. I don't care. Shut me down, whatever. That dude's a criminal. Straight up. Saint. She's a criminal. They all are. There's a very few handful of politicians out there that are worth a damn. We're all questionable. Don't get me wrong. We all make mistakes. We all screw up. But these people, this is by design. It's on purpose, and it's malicious. And they want to sit there and talk democracy this, democracy that. Democracy is majority, and the masses are asses. You people out there will get behind anything if it's spun the right way. You won't think about it. You won't even fucking give it a second thought. If everybody else is behind it, then I might as well be too. Right? Anybody out there that's sporting a Ukrainian flag on their fucking Facebook or their Instagram, you just jumped in and you did it because it was the cool thing to do. It's just like when those assholes went in and shot up that club in France and everybody put a fucking Everybody put a flag on, everybody's just, you put a flag on your thing because once one person does it, well, that's cool. It's trending, right? You got to do what's trending. That's what democracy is, people. It's the rule by the people, correct? So it's the majority. What was that? What was the quote that I put out there from Marcus Aurelius the other day? Basically, the object of life is not to be on the side of majority, but it's to make sure that one doesn't fall into the ranks of the insane. And that's where this is headed. You've got the ranks of the insane. And I got people throwing shit around out there. What the hell is that? Huh. Gotta love it. Anyway, on that note, I'm going to go ahead and shut it down for now. Maybe we'll come back later tonight. I don't know. We'll see. But everybody have a great Friday out there. Hopefully you get off work early because Joe Biden took off early today. If Joe Biden is already back on his eating ice cream and riding around on his little bicycle with his little helmet on, and it was on your dime too. Okay. So if he flew down there to where he's at, which I believe he typically does, maybe I'll have to look into that and see what that just costs the American taxpayer. And he'll come into work late on Monday too. So the way I see it is, if that's the way it's going to be, everybody, if you're working right now, go home. Call it good. The president is off. Why should you be at work? The president's off. He's at his beach house, for fuck's sake. Why are you still working? So you can pay for his fuel to fly his little helicopter or whatever. I don't know where he flies down there. I don't know if he uses Air Force One or if he, whatever they call the helicopter. At least he doesn't have to walk up the ramp for that thing. I hope everybody saw him the other day. He damn near fell up the stairs again. He didn't, though. He got himself this time. He didn't take a shin bark. Well, I'll bet you that left a bruise on that dude. When he's, you're 80 years old and you go falling up some stairs, man, you're gonna get tore back. They probably had to pump him full of some stem cells or something after that one, Oh, God. It's just kind of crazy. Crazy world, people. Crazy world. Part of us just has to laugh at it. That's why I always say, and I put on all my posts and everything, I try to put hashtag walk away. Because until we walk away from this shit and just get on with it, we all know what to do. We're the ones that make this world go around. Everybody out there working in the oil, we're the ones pumping the oil. We're the ones, building things. We're the ones innovating. We're the ones, producing. Not these people. They're taking. They are not adding any value to anything. They are taking value from what we do. Do you understand that? Our government was not in place to do that. They are thieves. They steal, they lie, they cheat, and they do whatever they can to stay in power. They don't empower anybody. Okay? When was the last time they did you a favor? Tell me. I'd like to know. I really would like to know. You tell me when the last time was they did you a favor. Did anything beneficial in your life? I'd like to know. If you can tell me that, then okay, let's sit down and have a conversation. I would like to know. Because I know in my case, they've never done anything other than take years of my life away from me, put me through living hell, accuse me falsely of something I didn't do, and lock me in a cage. Yeah. And I'm not going to wave the flag over that. I know a lot of guys that I was with, they were all about it, Stand for the anthem. Well, read the third stanza of the national anthem. Read the third stanza of the national anthem, and you tell me what a marvelous song that is. Do you want flag worship, or do you want to be free? Me personally, I want to be free. I want to have the liberty to do what I want to do, as long as I'm not harming anybody else. And I think we all have that. I think that's a basic intrinsic human right. Talking about the pursuit of happiness. I don't know if it's happiness necessarily, but pursuit of meaning, of doing what it is that you want to do, doing what you feel you need to do. Everybody's got a calling. Everybody's got, and people miss out on their callings. People miss out on the things that they're passionate about because they get themselves in a position where they have to go and you got to take a job that you hate because you got to pay the bills. I've been there. Been there pretty much my whole life. Who really wants to go out? I know guys that love, I like doing construction stuff. I like building things. But I like doing it on my own terms. There's a difference when you're out there and you're just having to go take a shitty cheese job and you're just, you're alienated from the product of your labor. You're building shit for rich people. You get screamed at by a boss. That's not any kind of fun. And nobody really wants to do that. I mean, it's the same way. Who wants to work in a cubicle? I guess some people do. I mean, it certainly takes a certain kind of mentality. I mean, to work in a cubicle, you almost have to be like trained, brainwashed into that mentality because people weren't meant to work in cubicles. I mean, come on. I love nothing better than that scene from Office Space when Peter's just sitting there, he undoes the little half pony walls or whatever on his cubicle and just kicks the thing over. Lumberg goes by and he's just sitting back looking out the window. Can you imagine going in a cubicle? And nothing against any out there that work in a cubicle. I'm sorry if you do. And if you like it, then hey, more power to you. But I'd be willing to bet that most people probably don't like that very much. I don't think that's what we were meant to do. Maybe some people. Maybe accountants. I don't know. I would think an accountant, I mean, hell, you don't even need, in that line of work, you don't even need to go into an office anymore, do you? I mean, hell, there's not a single thing in the business world, really, that can't be done through a Zoom or a Google meeting or whatever your ally is, what's the other one? Skype. You don't hear much about Skype anymore. But, I mean, Onion Head, there's nothing that he couldn't do just from, he might as well just stay down in Delaware. Why does he even go to, he could do he could do everything just from his basement in his little beach house. There's no reason for us to be paying for him to be traveling, flying all over. He can have that meeting with Saudi Arabia by Zoom. I mean, they could probably, at this point in time, holograph him in. I mean, they can holograph Tupac and Biggie up onto a stage, right? They're dead and gone. I mean, why couldn't you holograph Joe? I mean, it'd be the same thing, and then, you wouldn't have to worry about him getting COVID. He'd stand there in his basement with his mask hanging off one ear and just, at least then maybe they could edit it, if you said something out of, give it a delay to where you could cut something out instead of just watching him get up there and embarrass the whole country in front of, the world. But that's what they're going to keep doing, and it's going to keep going on our dime. I think you're looking at about $250,000 an hour just for Air Force One. So, and that's probably a low number. So think about how many gallons of fuel is that going to burn up for Air Force One and its entourage to fly over to Saudi Arabia? Because you can't tell me they're not going to have the plane of doom up there following them. They're going to have that around too. I mean, once that thing's probably out flying around right now on your dime. For what? Why do we need that flying around? I bet you it's out there right now. I mean, you just look at all of these things that we are just wasting while as a country we're wasting away. It's pretty sad, And evil is allowed to persist when good people just sit back and do nothing. I think part of it is we don't know what to do. Well, maybe it's time we start figuring that out, what we need to do. I've got ideas. A lot of people I know have ideas. And, the issue is you start putting thoughts out there, and next thing you know, you get shut down. Like I said earlier today, I put out one tweet, and then the next one I put out, sorry. And I didn't say anything. I didn't, it was nothing bad. I wasn't coming at anybody. I just put forth my idea that, hey, if these politicians are going to make it so we're suffering at the store and at the pump and with everything right now, they can say that wages are higher than they've ever been or whatever, but you know what? When inflation is this high, then it really doesn't matter. You're losing. You might be making more money than you've made, but you're actually not because you're spending more. So you have to think about the way that works out. You have to look at those numbers. It's all about thinking critically about things, people. And if you're not thinking, you're losing. And trust me, there is a war going on right now, and it's a war for your mind. And if you're just going to give it up, then, then you're done. I mean, what's it worth to you? Unfortunately, oftentimes good things don't come without struggle. In fact, that's pretty much true across the board. Yeah, you have your people that have just been handed everything silver spoon up their ass like Hunty Biden, but you can't tell me that dude's not a tortured soul. That dude is a tortured soul. Trust me. Take one look at him. I'm not jealous of that dude one little bit, or anybody with all kinds of money, because most people I meet with money are unhappy. We sit here and look at people like that. We go, God, if we just didn't have to worry about, oh man, if I didn't have this bill coming up that how am I going to make this work? We think if we didn't have to worry about that, everything would be great. But the fact of the matter is, most of the people I know that are in a position that have that fuck you money, they're not happy. They're not happy in their relationships. They're not happy with their friendships with anybody. They're not happy with anything. They think that every time they turn around, somebody's trying to screw them for their money. And that's the only thing they think about. They're not really living. They're living to protect their assets, their money, why in the world are these ultra billionaires not kicking down to end homelessness? Bill Gates, Mr. Philanthropist, he's saying he's going out to eat dinners with Jeffrey Epstein because he can get the money. How many billions is he worth? If he was a philanthropist, for fuck's sake, he would be putting his money into it. He didn't do anything to earn it. How many billions is he worth? He could personally end homelessness today. Same with Elon Musk, same with Jeff Bezos, same with Warren Buffett, same with all these people. Why do they have to amass so much? Okay, fine, they can. That's it, sure. But it also speaks to what kind of person you are. When you can sit there and you can go to LA and you can see what's going on at Skid Row, when you can go see what's happening in San Francisco, when you can go and see what's happening at the border, when you can go and see what's happening in New York City, once the greatest city on the planet. Look at it now. It's a nightmare. It's an absolute murdered nightmare. People are getting shot left and right. You don't hear about it. Cops getting killed. There's a better way, folks. There's a better way. And it's not and this isn't working. Tell me how this is working. Please, I implore you. Put it in the comments. Reach out to me. Send me an email. themikefiles@gmail.com. No apostrophe, all one word. THEMICDFILES@gmail.com. Shoot me a email. Tell me how this is working. Show me how anything that's been implemented is actually benefiting you or somebody you know. Because quite frankly, I don't see anybody I know catching any benefits from anything that's going on right now at all. There's no good being done for any of the American people. If there is, you show me who. Maybe it's the drag queens that are getting to go and do book reading at or strip shows for family-friendly drag shows. I don't know. I saw that one last night. That was certainly interesting. Little kids sitting there with looked like they had the drag queen head. It was blurred out, so I'm imagining that meant that the hardware was out, and you had little kids sitting in the crowd, little kids. Drag queen can do that. That's fine amongst consenting adults. And if you take your kids to something like that, I don't know. Call me crazy, but I don't think little kids necessarily need to have that forced upon them. If you're a consenting adult and that's what you're into, then hey, great. Move to Portland. I don't know. But I don't know. I think that, you should have your head checked if you're taking your kid to a family-friendly drag queen strip show. Not telling you how to be a parent or anything like that. God knows I'm not the, I'm not the acme of perfection when it comes to that. I've done the best that I can, but that's, I don't know. It doesn't seem right to me. But to me, it just doesn't seem like, to subject children, it's not a child's, I can't think of a single little kid that I've ever known that would want to go to a drag queen strip show. Maybe. I don't know. Guess things are different. I don't know. And that's a conversation for another time. I'm going to get out of here. Everybody just leave work. Joe Biden left. Just tell your boss that. Say, hey, you know what? I'm done. I'm out of here. I'm not punching the clock anymore today. I'm going to be in late Monday, and I'm going to go party all weekend. I'm going to go have a good time. That's what I implore you to do. If you're drinking, don't drive. If you're driving, don't drink. Call that Uber. Call a Lyft. Call a cab. Rent a horse. No, don't ride a horse either. That's not good. Nothing with wheels or hooves that you're operating, okay? And don't walk around either, because you get a public intox, especially in this town. Try and do the right thing and walk home, you'll end up in jail too. Fall asleep in somebody's bush. Don't get that drunk. Just go out and have a good time. Keep it mediation, folks. Mediation. All things. All right, be good or be good at it. In all things, be kind. And do no harm. With that in mind, I'm out.
You better go take it. Always they need a new replacement. Decentralized, can't contain it. We're changing lives, yeah, upgrading. Call it suicide of the older generation. What keeps you up at night, yeah? Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. What keeps you up at night, yeah? Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. Generation fueled by creation. We live lives on a small screen nation. We control the airwaves, no negotiation. I refuse to think we need saving. Something good will come from creation. And when we think that the world is too anxious, we'll adapt, evolve, survive, and save it. What keeps you up at night, yeah? Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. What keeps you up at night, yeah? Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah.